Exposed 2025. Prophecy. What did Baba Vanga and Nostradamus warn about global disaster? In 2025, ancient prophecies warn of global disaster, Europe in ruins, economies crumbling, and a mysterious force from the sky set to strike in July. These aren't just myths whispered through time, they come from iconic figures like Baba Vanga and Nostradamus, echoed by seers from Thailand to Japan. But why are so many visions pointing to this year? Dear seekers, in the next 30 minutes, the Journey of Wisdom invites you into a realm where history, prophecy, and modern reality collide. We won't just revisit these haunting predictions, we'll dive deep into their origins, explore patterns across cultures, and uncover signs that might already be unfolding around us. With surprising connections to current world events, this isn't just a look into the past, it's a mirror to our possible future. Is this just coincidence, an overblown fear, or a truth we've long ignored? The puzzle is forming before our eyes, and even if just 1% of it is real, what does that mean for us? Stay with us. What you're about to discover may change the way you see the world. Number 1. Baba Vanga's predictions. In the mysterious world of prophecy, one name echoes through time with a blend of awe and apprehension: Baba Vanga, the blind mystic from the Balkans, whose life story is as enigmatic as the visions she shared. Blinded in a dust storm at the age of 12, she claimed this tragic loss granted her the gift of foresight. Now, as we stand on the brink of 2025, her prophecies stir both fear and fascination. She predicted a devastating war in Europe, one so severe that it would not only ravage the continent, but also signify the start of humanity's decline. With current events, like the prolonged war in Ukraine and rising global tensions, we must ask ourselves, are we living through the fulfillment of these predictions? Some even whisper of a nearly depopulated Europe, a chilling thought that feels more real with every headline. And alongside war, she foresaw a worldwide economic collapse, a storm triggered by unstable policies and erratic market behaviors. Our current financial instability, wild inflation, and wavering investor confidence seem to echo her words. But the Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." This reminds us that fear must not paralyze us. Rather, awareness and mindful action can shape a more stable now. As if conflict and economic disaster weren't enough, Baba Vanga also warned that in 2025, Earth itself would rise in rebellion. Earthquakes, she said, would strike with unparalleled force, and already this year we have seen a 7.7 magnitude earthquake devastate Myanmar and Thailand, claiming thousands of lives. Volcanic eruptions and massive floods were also part of her terrifying vision. Some scientists might call this the natural result of climate imbalance, but those who study ancient prophecy wonder if it's something more. Could the Earth be speaking to us in a language we've long ignored? Buddhist teachings often remind us that everything is connected: our actions, the Earth, the cosmos. When we exploit and ignore nature, perhaps what we witness is not punishment, but balance being restored. Amid such destruction, Baba Vanga also spoke of hope, glimpses of light in the darkness. In 2025, she foresaw incredible leaps in science, including breakthroughs in cancer treatment, organ regeneration, and the harnessing of new energy sources rivaling the power of the sun. It's a sobering thought. Will these miracles arrive in time to heal the wounded, to rebuild what's been lost, or will they be reserved for a select few who endure the chaos? One of her most haunting visions was of a disaster in the sky in July 2025. Though cryptic, the effects are already tangible. Flight bookings for that month have plummeted, and airlines are reacting with flexible ticketing and emergency planning. Could it be space weather, faulty aircraft technology, or perhaps a geopolitical trigger that disrupts global air travel? The fear is real, and the patterns are shifting. This calls to mind a powerful saying by Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh: "Fear keeps us focused on the past or worried about the future." If we can acknowledge our fear, we can realize that right now we are okay. So while we listen and learn from these warnings, we must also return to the presento, care for our families, our health, our communities, and the planet. It's in small acts of kindness, of preparedness, that resilience is built. Then come her more surreal predictions: telepathic communication, contact with extraterrestrials, even a possible war on Mars. These stretch the limits of belief, yet oddly resonate with the rapid progress in AI, quantum communication, and space exploration. Whether literal or metaphorical, these ideas challenge us to ask, what future are we rushing toward, and at what cost? Let us not forget the Buddha's teaching: with our thoughts, we make the world. If we flood our minds with fear, we empower fear. But if we fill them with compassion, wisdom, and courage, we begin to build a different world, one rooted in understanding rather than destruction. And yet, we must also look closely at the source of these prophecies. Critics point out that many of Baba Vanga's predictions were never formally documented. Much of what we know comes from second-hand stories, family members, or visitors who interpreted her words years after she spoke them. Victoria Vita Nova Kaba, a leading researcher, claims most of Vanga's insights were personal, not global, focused on helping individuals rather than predicting international doom. This raises a crucial question: how much of what we fear today is born from her vision, and how much from our own collective anxiety? It brings us to the Buddhist idea of Maya, the illusion of reality. Sometimes, the stories we tell ourselves gain such momentum that they begin to feel like truth. But truth, in its purest form, must be tested not only by evidence, but by its usefulness. Are these prophecies meant to scare user to awaken us? So as we walk toward 2025 with curiosity and caution, let's hold these visions not as certainties, but as calls to mindfulness. To care more deeply, live more wisely, and prepare not just for disaster, but for growth. Because the true power of prophecy isn't in prediction, it's in preparation. And as the Dhammapada teaches, if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path. Let us light such lamps of wisdom, compassion, and understanding, so that no matter what 2025 holds, we meet it not with fear, but with clarity and heart. Number 2. Thai psychics' alarming predictions. While most of us are familiar with the chilling prophecies of Baba Vanga or the cryptic visions of Nostradamus, have you ever wondered if others around the world are also receiving messages that speak of our shared future? Let me take you to Thailand, the land of smiles, where beneath the warmth of its culture lies a fascinating and often unsettling world of seers, mystics, and spiritual visionaries. Here, prophecy isn't just a curiosity, it's a part of everyday life. Thailand is home to over 25,000 registered psychics, and the psychic industry is estimated to be worth more than $500 million. That's not just a number, it reflects a society deeply rooted in the belief of karma and destiny. Over 94% of Thais believe that our actions shape our fate, and in uncertain times, especially during political unrest like the 2014 coup or the 2020 protests, many have turned to these spiritual guides not just for reassurance, but for survival. Among these voices, 3 names have emerged with eerie predictions for the year 2025: Morpel, Pulai, and M.A. Let's begin with Morpel, whose real name is Navaracha Pinilokan. She's no stranger to the spotlight, and her recent predictions have stirred both fear and fascination. Morpal foresees catastrophic floods in Thailand so severe that people would have to evacuate to the 5th floor of buildings to escape the rising waters. She also speaks of tsunamis, underwater volcanic eruptions, and disasters not confined to Thailand, but stretching across the Pacific, touching Japan, Indonesia, and Singapore. What makes her words even more compelling is their detail: a looming economic crash, skyrocketing food prices, the collapse of Bangkok's real estate market, and a possible government relocation to the northeast of Thailand. She warns of a deadly explosion, perhaps from a factory or oil warehouse in the winter, and a dangerous new sexually transmitted disease. Her advice? Live high literally. Stockpile food in elevated places, keep cash safe, especially from May 2025 onward, and prepare for a potential financial collapse. Now here's where it gets unsettling. Many believe Morpal predicted the devastating 7.7 magnitude earthquake that struck Myanmar on May 28, 2025, killing more than 3,700 people. And as we speak, Thailand is grappling with heavy floods due to an unusually early and intense rainy season. Could these unfolding events be confirming her visions? Still, Morpal is not without her missteps. She incorrectly predicted the winner of Thailand's Prime Minister election, the movement of gold prices in early 2025, and the political comeback of former PM Thaksin Shinawatra. This raises an important question. When should we take a prophecy seriously, and when should we see it as just a possibility, not a certainty? Can we tell the difference between spiritual insight and speculation? Next is Pulai, a lesser-known but fast-rising figure whose warnings have also gained attention. She reportedly foresaw the same Myanmar earthquake and even described in vivid detail how buildings in Bangkok would sway like dancers months before the tremors were felt. But what sets Pulai apart is her spiritual framework. She speaks of the karmic timeline, a Buddhist idea suggesting that our collective actions can either delay or accelerate what's destined to happen. And yet, we must also look closely at the source of these prophecies. Critics point out that many of Baba Vanga's predictions were never formally documented. Much of what we know comes from second-hand stories, family members, or visitors who interpreted her words years after she spoke them. Victoria Vita Nova Kiba, a leading researcher, claims most of Vanga's insights were personal, not global, focused on helping individuals rather than predicting international doom. This raises a crucial question: how much of what we fear today is born from her vision, and how much from our own collective anxiety? It brings us to the Buddhist idea of Maya, the illusion of reality. Sometimes, the stories we tell ourselves gain such momentum that they begin to feel like truth. But truth, in its purest form, must be tested not only by evidence, but by its usefulness. Are these prophecies meant to scare user to awaken us? So as we walk toward 2025 with curiosity and caution, let's hold these visions not as certainties, but as calls to mindfulness. To care more deeply, live more wisely, and prepare not just for disaster, but for growth. Because the true power of prophecy isn't in prediction, it's in preparation. And as the Dhammapada teaches, if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path. Let us light such lamps of wisdom, compassion, and understanding, so that no matter what 2025 holds, we meet it not with fear, but with clarity and heart. As we step back and consider all these voices, from Morpal's detailed disaster scenarios, to Pulai's karmic warnings, to MA's forbidden visions, it's clear that these prophecies, whether we believe them or not, echo deep fears and concerns within Thai society. They're more than predictions. They are reflections of our collective anxiety, our search for meaning in chaos, and perhaps our silent plea for change. So, Let's ask ourselves, are we waiting for disaster to strike, or are we willing to reflect, to change, and to act mindfully before it does? Is the future truly written in stone, or do our actions or thoughts, our choices write the next chapter? In the end, the lesson isn't about fear, it's about responsibility. No matter what the prophecies say, we each have the power to plant seeds of goodness, to build resilience within our communities, and to live with compassion. Because even in a world full of warnings, the greatest prophecy is this: when we choose kindness over fear, wisdom over ignorance, and unity over division, we shape a future worth living. If you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who seeks deeper truths about our world and what the future may hold. Comment below with "Awakened 2025" to show you're ready to face what's coming and prepare with clarity and strength. Don't miss what's next. There's still more powerful insight ahead that could shift your entire perspective on what's to come. Stay until the end to uncover what Baba Vanga and Nostradamus really warned us about. Number 3. Japan's Ryo Tatsuki, Manga prophet. Turning our gaze to the east, we find ourselves in Japan, where an unexpected voice from the world of manga has stirred quiet waves of both curiosity and concern. Ryo Tatsuki, often referred to as the new Baba Vanga. Unlike many who claim foresight, Tatsuki's record speaks for itself. Her book, Future I Saw, The Future I Saw, first published in 1999 and brought back into the spotlight in 2021, contains a series of predictions so uncanny in their accuracy that skeptics have paused and believers have leaned in closer. Among her most chilling revelations is a forewarning about July 2025, a catastrophic natural event, a vast underwater rift between Japan and the Philippines, bringing forth a monstrous tsunami 3 times more destructive than the 2011 Tohoku disaster. She described the sea as boiling, which many have taken as a metaphor for violent volcanic or seismic activity rumbling beneath the ocean floor. This imagery, while poetic, raises grave concerns for nations like Japan, Taiwan, Indonesia, and the Northern Mariana Islands. This isn't the first time Tatsuki's visions have proven eerily prescient. She predicted the 1995 Kobe earthquake, the tragic 2011 tsunami, the untimely passing of Freddie Mercury, and even alluded to the emergence of a mysterious virus around 2020, what we now know as the COVID-19 pandemic. Her predictions, some claim, follow a 15-year cycle, adding an extra layer of intrigue and urgency to the upcoming date. Is it a pattern repeating itself? Or are these visions shaped by intuition that sees further than science? As the teachings of the Buddha remind us, 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Whether Tatsuki's prophecy reveals an ultimate truth or serves as a powerful caution, it invites us not to panic but to reflect. The impact of her predictions has not remained within the pages of her manga alone. In real terms, tourism to Japan has seen a noticeable dip, particularly from neighboring East Asian countries. The anxiety grew so significant that even the Chinese embassy in Tokyo issued an advisory in May 2025, urging caution for travelers concerned about natural disasters. However, the Japan Meteorological Agency maintains that there are no unusual warnings or red flags for July 2025, and all monitoring systems continue to function as expected. Tatsuki herself, despite her gift or curse, depending on one's perspective, has urged the public not to be swayed entirely by her visions, but to ground themselves in expert advice and scientific data. Her humility, in the face of rising fear, is a subtle reminder that wisdom does not insist on blind belief, but encourages balanced awareness. Still, her track record and timing cannot be easily dismissed. And perhaps The greater message is not just about predicting disasters, but about preparing our hearts and minds to live wisely amidst uncertainty. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to cultivate mindfulness not in expectation of disaster, but in recognition of impermanence. Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment, the Buddha once said. In this way, the fear surrounding predictions like Tatsuki's becomes less about helplessness and more about readiness psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. For those aged 30 to 65, many of whom carry the responsibilities of families, careers, and aging parents, such predictions can weigh heavily on the mind. But we must ask, what is within our control? We cannot stop the waves, but we can learn to swim, build stronger shelters, educate our children on awareness, and most importantly, find peace within ourselves. When the world outside becomes turbulent, the steadiness of one's inner life becomes not just a refuge, but a strength. And so, even if no rift ever tears open the sea, perhaps this prophecy serves a purpose not as a doomsday clock, but as a call to awaken our care for one another and the fragile world we share. Like the lotus that rises from the mud, beauty and strength often emerge from tension and trial. Let us take these warnings not as anchors of fear, but as invitations to reconnect with the deeper truths of our existence. Whether or not the sea boils, we can still choose to cool the fire within, use anger, ignorance, indifference, and live with more compassion, wisdom, and presence. Number 4. Nostam is predictions. Now let's turn to one of the most mysterious and talked about figures in the world of prophecy, Nostradamus, often affectionately misnamed as Nostam in some circles. This French seer from the 16th century left behind a legacy of poetic verses known as quatrains that many believe contain hidden messages about our future. While his words were vague and symbolic, they've been studied for centuries and are still sparking deep conversations today. When scholars and enthusiasts recently revisited his writings with 2025 in mind, they found chilling parallels to the predictions made by Baba Vanga, another renowned prophet whose warnings we've come to recognize. Both seem to foresee not just moments of hardship, but times of great transformation. According to these interpretations, Nostradamus described a world shaken by intense wars, particularly in Europe conflicts, so large and chaotic that they'd leave global powers scrambling. He spoke of the earth trembling, of fire rising from its depths, pointing to natural disasters like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. These aren't just metaphors for inner turmoil, they may reflect actual planetary changes. Have you noticed how our environment seems to be shifting more drastically with each passing year? From strange weather patterns to rising sea levels, the signs are all around us. Nostradamus also alluded to a crumbling economy, one that could lead to mass poverty and destabilization, where the rich may become poor overnight, and entire nations could find themselves facing bankruptcy. He even hinted at a more cosmic danger, a small asteroid from the heavens, falling like a warning from the universe, possibly triggering fire and devastation on Earth. Now, you might be wondering, can all of this really be taken at face value? That's a fair question. Nostradamus's verses are famously cryptic. They weren't written as direct statements, but as symbolic riddles. So how is it that people believe these refer specifically to 2025? Are we trying too hard to see patterns where there are none, connecting today's fears to old poetic fragments? Or did he somehow tap into a truth so profound that it transcends time? Do not believe in anything simply because you have heard it, said the Buddha. X. Do not believe in traditions because they have been handed down for many generations. But after observation and analysis, when you find that something agrees with reason and is conducive to the good and benefit of one and all, then accept it and live up to it. The real value in exploring these prophecies lies not in fearing disaster, but in asking, what are we doing with this information? Are we preparing for a better world? Are we living more mindfully, helping each other, and showing compassion in a world that feels more uncertain every day? Perhaps the warnings, real or symbolic, aren't there to scare us, but to awaken us. What lessons can we draw from the chaos they speak of? Are we choosing peace in our daily lives, or are we contributing to the very turmoil we dread? These are not just predictions, they are prompts for reflection. They invite you, not just to listen, but to engage, to question, and to grow. Number 5. UK's Hamilton Parker. Let's talk about a voice that's been stirring discussions around the world. See. Hamilton Parker, a British psychic who has gained attention for his bold insights into political, social, and global events. His outlook for the year 2025 is not only vivid, but also deeply layered with warnings and calls for awareness. So, what exactly does Parker see coming, and what can we learn from it? He foresees a fragile peace agreement in Ukraine, one that may not come from mutual understanding, but from pressure, particularly from the United States. This uneasy truce, he believes, won't put an end to the underlying tensions. Instead, it may merely pause them. At the same time, he predicts a potentially explosive event in the Middle East, Israel striking Iran's nuclear facilities. Such a move, Parker warns, could trigger a regional conflict far greater than what the world has seen in recent years. And across the waters, the tension between China and Taiwan is expected to grow sharper, more dangerous. Can we afford to ignore these rising tremors, or is it time to consider the cost of unresolved conflicts? Parker's vision for the global economy is just as intense. According to him, nationalism will continue to rise, and stricter immigration and refugee laws will start to fracture the global fabric of unity. China, he says, may face severe economic instability, not just from outside pressures like US tariffs, but also from within. There's a possibility that this internal unrest could lead to parts of China evolving into more democratic regions. Meanwhile, in Europe, Germany's famed car industry is predicted to struggle, and France may be hit by waves of violent protests. Parker describes this with scenes of fire, smoke, and relentless demonstrations. And back home in the UK, the economy might stumble into a recession. Are we truly prepared for the ripple effects of economic fragility in our interconnected world? When it comes to the forces of nature, Parker doesn't hold back. He sees earthquakes continuing to shake parts of Japan, potentially triggering larger disturbances across the Pacific. But the most surprising part of Parker's prediction isn't political or environmental, it's technological. He believes we're on the edge of a revolution in artificial intelligence and quantum computing. Yes, this could mean huge leaps in knowledge and capability, but he warns of the darker side, widespread job displacement, especially in tech sectors that once seemed untouchable. As societies rush to adopt these new tools, Parker predicts we'll see cultural collisions, clashes between old traditions and new norms, possibly even the birth of controversial laws like an anti-wood loss regulation, hinting at how tightly environmental concerns may become intertwined with emerging technologies. Does progress have to come at such a cost, or can we shape a future where wisdom leads innovation? So, what do we take from all this? Whether you believe in psychic visions or not, Parker's insights act like a mirror reflecting the fears, hopes, and crossroads that humanity faces today. The lesson isn't about panic, but about preparation. We are reminded to stay aware of global tensions, to value human dignity above political gain, and to tread carefully as we move toward a future driven by technology. In the face of uncertainty, ask yourself, how can I be a force for calm, compassion, and clarity? These predictions are not just warnings, they're invitations to awaken, to act mindfully, and to remember that in every crisis lies the seed of transformation. Thank you for watching today's video on the 2025 prophecies of Baba Vanga and Nostradamus. It's always a gift to share this journey with you. If you felt intrigued, curious, or even a little concerned by what you've seen, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're new here, just say, "I am a seeker." We welcome all who are searching. And if you've been walking this path with us for a while, type "I am awakened" to let us know you're still here, still reflecting. Your presence and words mean more than you know. They help this community grow in wisdom and connection. Now, let's continue exploring the truth together. Don't panic. How to stay safe in an uncertain world. In a world swirling with uncertainty and alarming headlines, it's easy to feel like we're standing at the edge of something vast and uncontrollable. We've traveled through ancient prophecies and predictions, Baba Vanga's haunting visions, Nostradamus's cryptic warnings, the spiritual insights rising from Thailand, and the poetic messages of Rio Tatsuki. Each of these voices, distant in time yet deeply resonant today, seems to be calling us to pay attention. But as these echoes grow louder in our collective awareness, the most pressing question isn't whether these disasters will unfold, it's how we, ordinary people with families, responsibilities, and hopes for a peaceful life, can respond in a way that is wise, grounded, and life-affirming. The teachings of the Buddha remind us not to seek safety in external promises, but to cultivate it within. You yourself must strive. The Buddhas only point the way. In other words, wisdom and action are the true protection, not waiting for someone to save us, nor giving in to helpless fear. The call now is to live intentionally, to choose clarity over confusion and heart over hysteria. Let's begin with the most practical step: preparing without panic. Preparation is often misunderstood. People confuse it with fear, but in truth, it's simply wisdom in action. Stocking clean water, essential food, medicine, and having an emergency plan with your loved ones isn't about surrendering to doom, it's about creating space for peace of mind. Think of it like locking your doors at night, not because you're afraid, but because you're being responsible. When you're ready, you sleep better. In the same way, preparedness helps us respond instead of react. Panic narrows the mind and amplifies chaos. A calm, steady approach invites confidence and composure. This is not just about survival in times of crisis. It's about strengthening our ability to care for ourselves and those we love, no matter what comes. Yet physical preparation is only one layer. Inner stability, the strength of our heart and mind, is what truly carries us through storms. Disasters, whether natural or man-made, may or may not occur. But the storm inside anxiety, anger, confusion, can be just as destructive if we let it grow unchecked. The good news is, we can begin right now to build that stability. A few minutes each day of mindful breathing, of simply being with ourselves in silence, can act as a lifeline. Thich Nhat Hanh wisely said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." In these times of rapid change, when our news feeds constantly stir our fears, that anchor is more important than ever. By returning to our breath, by practicing gratitude even in small moments, morning coffee, a kind word, the sound of birds, we nourish our resilience. This strength isn't loud or dramatic. It grows quietly, day by day, and in times of challenge, it becomes our greatest ally. While inner peace is essential, it must extend beyond the self. We are not meant to walk through life alone. One of the most overlooked truths during crises is the power of community. In a world that often praises independence, we must remember interdependence. It is not wealth or clever gadgets that protect us in tough times, it's each other. Human connection, built through trust and compassion, is the real shelter. Begin by reaching out, talk to your neighbors, join local groups, check in on the elderly or isolated. Even small gestures, sharing a meal, offering a ride, lending an ear, create ripples of strength. Just as a single candle may flicker, a group of them glows with unwavering light. The heart of a supportive community becomes a sanctuary not just in disaster, but in everyday life, reminding us that while we cannot control the world, we can shape the relationships within it. And finally, no matter what the future holds, we are always empowered to live mindfully and ethically. Prophecy or no prophecy, the way we treat ourselves, others, and the earth leaves a lasting impact. Living ethically means choosing compassion over cruelty, truth over deception, and stewardship over exploitation. It means being aware of our footprint, reducing waste, caring for the planet, speaking kindly even when it's hard. These acts may seem small, but collectively they shape the kind of world we leave behind. In every moment, we're given a choice to add to fear or to grow love. The Dhammapada teaches, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. Recognizing that all things pass does not make us apathetic, it makes us more awake to what truly matters. The chance to be kind today, to act with care, and to plant seeds of peace that others may one day rest beneath. So, dear traveler, walking this path of wisdom, I invite you to not be overwhelmed by the shadows of what may come, but to walk with grace in the light of what is already here. Your breath, your choices, your connections, these are the tools of real transformation. Let prophecy not be a burden, but a bella call to awaken. Let fear whisper its lessons, but not steer the wheel. The world may be unpredictable, but the clarity of your heart, the sincerity of your actions, and the compassion you extend are your true compass. You are not alone on this journey. With each step, guided by awareness and love, we shape a future that no prediction can overshadow. The sky may rumble, but the ground of your spirit can remain unmoved, steady as a mountain, clear as a morning lake. Let's walk forward not in fear, but in wisdom, together. Thank you for walking with us through the mysterious and often haunting prophecies surrounding 2025. Whether you see them as warnings, metaphors, or mirrors to our own fears and hopes, one truth remains. The future is not fixed, it is shaped by how we live today. If this video sparked reflection, curiosity, or calm in the face of uncertainty, we invite you to support this journey. Please like, share, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming explorations into ancient teachings, modern challenges, and timeless truths. Until next time, may your path be guided by awareness, steadied by compassion, and lit by the quiet strength of wisdom.